It's Corso and Catone. Brought to you by Corso Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Now for the real deal New England feel. Corso and Catone.
Welcome into Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel. I'm Corso. Catone is here. Joe's with us in the booth. You are watching us on YouTube, listening on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, anywhere you podcast, you're going to be able to get us. And, of course, 790 The Score in Rhode Island. And make sure you send us an email in our mailbag, corso.catone@gmail.com, or give us a call in heated hotline, 855-313-PATS. Leave us a message 24/7. Have a take. And make sure when you're on YouTube, either watching us live or a replay or, hey, any of our shorts, check those out.
Well, we got plenty of those now.
Subscribe. We could always use that and get all our notifications. Tonight, we got a good one. We're going to go B's and C's. Got a lot to talk about with the little bit to talk about with the Celtics.
B's and C's. Oh, my God.
Yeah. And, of course, we're going to hear from one of you in Heated Hotline and Catone's comments. Stick around for that. And in Weekly Rewind, going to talk some Patriots and a little bit of Providence College, hopefully.
Yeah.
If you're not long-winded.
Not the most, nicest thing to talk about right now, but we'll talk PC.
Well, we gotta give a little bit of an update. So, don't be long-winded, and then you could talk about your Friars.
Okay.
How you doing, Mark? How you doing, Joe?
Oh, yeah, doing it.
It's kind of that week, Chris. While you're waiting for the Super Bowl, it's kind of like one of those, you know what I mean?
Is there a part of the world that isn't going to be dealing with the Super Bowl? Because that's where I want to go right now. I hate the Chiefs. Like any true good Patriots fan should.
Here we go.
Right? I've been hearing all week. Well, we'll talk about it. So, But first, we need to talk Bruins and Celtics, and we're going to do it in B's and C's. Joe?
Hit it! The Boston Celtics are the world champions, and they have shown the world how great a ball club they really are. Screenshot
Okay, Mark. So let's get into it. Let's start with the Bruins. Okay. I want to highlight that Buffalo game that they lost 7-2. A little bit. Just a little bit. Because that was one of the worst teams in hockey.
Yeah.
Besides us.
Well, they are. Yeah.
Buffalo. No, but I mean, Buffalo really is.
Well, they are.
And they lost 7-2. Okay. Turnovers. No, I'm watching a power play, or not even. I think it was a 2-on-1, a 3-on-1. It looked like practice for Buffalo. Back, forth, boom, 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 and in. With no pressure, no contest, contesting anything, Mark, in the defensive end. And to say nothing about Swayman, we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But what are you seeing? I mean, what? Are they just that bad? I mean, they're just one of these teams this is what the best you're going to get.
They
had a lot of guys that night, though, too. Yeah.
No, they did have some guys out, key guys out, but I think they are that. Well, I think they're just in key areas, Chris. Number one, they're getting old. Okay, they're not what they used to be in certain areas, right? I know we're going to get to the goalie in a minute, but he was overrated and should have never been given that kind of money. It appears at this point. Maybe I don't know. Unless there's another underlying reason why he's playing so poorly. Chris, this team has no toughness, no grit. The ball goes against the puck goes to the boards. Very rarely, Chris, can they control the puck off the board. Like have you ever seen anything like it? No matter who they're playing against, they can't clear their own end. It's bad hockey. Does anybody on this team have any pride? I mean, the coach, listen, he's a fill-in for the year. There's obviously no way they're hiring him at the end of the season. So how much can he do to change things? I mean, this culture was set. I think, Chris, you just need a total reset. And whether that means you finish next to last next year, so be it. But it needs a reset. And we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. You talked about it. The only problem is, how do you get rid of guys when half of them got no trade clauses, or, or they can block movement?
No movement clauses and things like that.
What do you do with this team to fix it? Because I don't think there's nobody in Providence. You could say, "Oh, we'll bring up 3-4 young guys. They'll energize us." They don't even have those guys.
Well, because they're hovering, with their 50, whatever they got over here, 52 points. They're hovering in that.
Oh, they'll make the playoffs because teams are so
6th, 7th,
bad.
8th spot. Like they're and that's where they're going to sit all year long.
Yep.
So, I mean, do you want that? I mean, do we want that as a fan base to say, well, because ownership, they don't care. They're fine. They're completely
He's okay with that.
With making
Chris,
the
place
playoffs.
is sold out for home games. He's okay with that. He's making money.
Well, you heard what Jacob said, what he said a few weeks ago, where he said, we've made the playoffs 8 out of the last. Oh, well, but we know, he backed it up. Well, we know Stanley Cups are the thing that we're trying to get to here. No, it's not. You want to make the playoffs. That's all you care. That's all you care about.
Money. Yeah, it's money.
Playoff money. What do we care?
Okay.
Getting that a lot in New England lately. I don't care ownership.
Chris, Swayman.
Red Sox too.
Swayman.
Yeah.
Swayman's given up the most goals in the NHL, Chris, by the way.
Yeah. So 37 goals allowed is 110. Most in the NHL. Right. Now, and the other thing too is he's given up games allowing 4+ goals. All right. So he's given up this year 11 out of 37 starts. So 11 out of 37, he's given up more than 4 goals. Now, last season, he gave up 10 in 43 starts.
So, Chris, that's more than a quarter of his starts. He's given up 4 goals or more.
Right. And he only played 43 games last year, and he gave up 10 all year. And the other years, it was 8 or 9 out of 33, 39. So, I mean, it's getting consistently, it's getting worse every year. With giving up 4+ goals. That's ridiculous. And like you say, the most goals allowed. He's on pace for 58 starts, but he's given up 110 goals this season, a career high. Is that because of what's in front of him?
Well, yeah, I think part of it is because what's in front of him. Yes. So I'm not going to let Swayman off the hook, but I do think that's part of it. But Chris, he's letting in some bad goals too. And for whatever reason, but yeah, what's in front of him is not helping him gain any confidence at all.
Yeah, it's like the I don't give a crap goals, doesn't it? Like I watch him play, and in nights like this where gives up a couple, and then all of a sudden it's like he's checked out, gone. And now he's not getting side to side well. He's not getting out really well. He doesn't make himself big. He goes to the ground. He'll go to the ice too much. And that's just plain effort at that point.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like, Chris, if he gives up a couple of goals and it's like 2-0, you're right. It's like he loses interest. Listen, and is it because he's like, okay, we're down 2-0, screw it, we're not going to come back anyways because we suck? Is it that mentality? But you're right. Once that happens, rather than batten down the hatches and okay, maybe we can win this game 3-2, it just gets worse and the floodgates open. You're right. That's happened on quite a few occasions this year when he's in net.
Right, and I don't think the players like him. I don't think they like him, and I think it started when he held out. And I just don't think the other guys like him. There's a definite leadership issue on this team among the players. Now, what do you make of this Chara coming in?
Well, I was going to say they brought the captain back, though, Chris.
So Chara comes into the front office in some capacity. Okay, does that mean Sweeney is his days are numbered here, or what? That's it, because it feels like a Bruins move. It feels like
It's a Bruins move. I don't know. I mean, do you think Chara would have enough experience by the end of the season to replace Sweeney? I mean, he's never held the front office position. No, Sweeney really didn't. Maybe it's Chara. Maybe Chara gets his feet wet, and at the end of the season, they give him that job. I don't know, maybe. But it is a Bruins move. That's a Bruins move. Bring in a Bruins guy. Keep it
here. Yeah, no, don't get anybody from the outside, and continue to suck.
Yeah.
So,
you know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
And so switching over to, we'll see. This is going to be the story with the Bruins for the rest of the season, just so you all know out there.
Yeah, they're going to hover, Chris, at this level, and they're going to stay making the playoffs barely because the rest of the conference is that bad, and they'll get blown out in the first round, and that'll be the end of the season.
So the Celtics, Mark. Okay.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about before we hear from Mazzulla. I want to talk about that Houston game that they played against the Rockets where they lost.
Would they have a 13-point lead in the fourth?
Yeah. And then it ended up 2 possessions at the end, 2 defensive letdowns and lapses allowed, them to tie it or whatever. And then to go ahead for the win. So let's hear from Mazzulla post game.
2 plays around me. Those were my fault. It didn't put us in the best matchups. I saw the play that they were trying to run. I tried to, change the matchups to put our guys in a tough spot. So, that's a tough one because I thought our guys did everything to win the game, and they put us in position to win it, and I didn't help them at the end. So that's both those plays, 100%.
Yeah. Okay. So he's taking it on the chin for those, and I agree that he did not put him in a good place. First of all,
he did not.
They're trying to get Cornette. The other team is trying. Houston's trying to get the matchup on Cornette. That is what they're trying to do.
Which they
got because all Boston wants to do is just get him defending somebody in the corner, get him basically out of the play on somebody who's not in the play. Okay, but the question I have for you is, Porzingis had 5 fouls. It's the end of the game. Why isn't he on the court instead of Cornette?
That's what I said. What were you saving him for? Like, what were you doing? Like, what's the difference? Put him in. Who cares?
So what? He gets his 5th foul?
If he falls out, who cares?
He had 4, whatever.
Whatever. 20 seconds left in the game. 25 seconds. Whatever was left. I don't know. Like, really? I mean,
what did you think Houston was going? So Udoka completely outcoached.
He outcoached
Mazzulla.
Positively.
Because what did you think was going to happen with Cornette on the court? They were going to try to get that matchup. And of course they did. But isn't there anybody in with leadership on this team? Any players that could stand? Remember Marcus Smart with the clipboard, and he's going to take over coaching stuff. And isn't there anybody though, in all honesty, on the court that can say like Brown? Anybody say, listen?
No,
this is what we need to do.
No, there isn't. But or they don't give a shit. Excuse my language, but going back to what you said about the Bruins, nobody gives. Do they give a care? I don't know.
I don't know.
Here's the thing, though, Chris. Another thing is that they had to burn a timeout a little earlier, because if they had a timeout in that situation,
it was on the challenge.
It was on the challenge. I have to think Mazzulla at that point would have said, "Oh shoot, I screwed this matchup up. Timeout." But he couldn't call a timeout to stop it. So you know what I mean?
Well, he should have never challenged that. It was pretty obvious.
Have challenged it. Yeah.
So
he blew that too.
Here's the thing that it's irritating to me is this team seems to they're taking on the attitude of the coach, which is arrogance at this point.
No,
they seem to be a very arrogant team, and he seems to be a very, very arrogant person talking about, the measurables and this, and, we're going to get it together. We'll stick together. But, answering questions, arrogant. The team seems to be like that. We can roll our helmets out. We can roll the ball out on the court, and we're just going to be fine flipping a switch. No, they're not.
Well, Chris, I definitely think they think when it's money time and we got to turn it on for the playoffs, we'll be fine. We know we got the best roster in basketball, all this stuff. But they're developing bad habits, Chris. And when you develop bad habits, I don't care if you want to turn it on in the playoffs. Those bad habits aren't just going to miraculously disappear because, it's, April 5th, it's playoff time, hit the switch. You've now developed bad habits over 82 games. And those habits don't get broken, Chris. I don't care what they think. And you're right about the arrogance. And the other thing is, Chris, he just coaches too much with his damn analytics because
Oh,
in
the
that
math.
Houston game, Dylan Brooks,
Yeah.
he's nuts, right? He gets in your face, he chirps, okay, fine. So in the first half, Chris Brooks hit what,
5.
I don't know, 5, 6, 3
He had
points.
5 in the first half, 5 in the second half.
Okay. So rather than making an adjustment defensively, Mazzulla's philosophy is, we hit 5. How many? He's not going to keep hitting them. The percentages
The numbers don't show that he's going to hit that again.
The numbers show that he's not going to keep doing that. So we're not going to make an adjustment because what's he going to hit, 1 or 2 more? Well, no, he stayed hot and he hit another 5.
Right.
That's his philosophy, Chris. He don't even make an adjustment to stop him. The numbers tell you he's not going to keep doing that.
That's not coaching. That's not coaching anymore, is it?
No, that's not coaching anymore. No. Nope.
Because you have no feel for the game. You have no feel for what's going on in the court, and that's not coaching.
Nope.
And meanwhile, the players, they're not rotating out. They're not spacing the floor. They're not, the big men are not getting out and blitzing the three-point shooters. Teams are going to try to match you with 3-point attempts every night, but they're not blitzing out to them. All the little things, they're not fighting over screens. All the things that they did last year, they're not doing, and it's the arrogance.
Yeah, and Chris, these other teams, and you mentioned this earlier in the year, you're getting every team's best punch because you're the defending champs. So the good teams, Udoka's got Houston playing good basketball. They're a good team. The good teams, Chris, that they've played over the last month that come out with a different type of intensity, for lack of a better word, almost like a playoff intensity because they're playing you. Yeah. You don't match it. You haven't matched it you haven't matched it, Chris, in probably over 6 weeks. You haven't matched that intensity.
Yep.
That's a problem.
It is, and so we'll keep track of it. 47 games played, 9 home losses. Last year they had 6
more home losses already than last year.
So we'll see what happens. Pay attention. But B's and C's was presented by the Pats Nation. Sundays, 8 a.m. Eastern. Hey, we got it all on that show. We got to have all Patriots talk all the time, breaking down free agency coming up, the draft, Senior Bowl, anything you want to hear. We're going to have that. So make sure you're tuning in. But when we come back, on hear from one of you in the nation and Heated Hotline. No flipping.
Sundays are for football. And here in New England, that means it's the Pats Nation with Corso and Catone.
You have the worst wide receiver room in the National Football League.
This is why the Patriots need us in the draft room. Let's see what the Pats Nation thinks about that, Mark.
Starting June 30th, Sundays, 8 to 9 a.m. on 790 The Score.
Back in with more Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England feel. All right, we're behind. Joe, let's have it. Heated hot.
This heated hotline comes from a write-in from Paul from Providence. I'm going to do my best, Paul. Well, Patriot fans, the Chiefs are getting ready to three-peat, something you never did. I know it's hard to believe another organization has created a dynasty that is on the verge of being better than yours, even though you brainwash yourselves into thinking we would never see another dynasty.
Who
like
the hell is this guy?
By the way, tell me when Brady three-peated. I'm sorry, he never did. Mahomes will be the GOAT next Sunday night. He can do things Brady could only dream about doing on a football field. By the way, go Giants.
Oh! Joe, I hate you for reading that. Right there. Okay.
I was like, when I saw this one, I was like, oh yeah.
You know what?
That's going in today.
You know what, Paul?
You better take a pill, something for this one.
Screw you, Paul. You know what? Have the eggs next time to call in Heated Hotline, okay? Instead of writing it down, hiding behind your computer with a friggin' email like that. Okay, let's talk about this.
Oh,
All right,
God.
Mark, calm down. Address Paul's stupidity and nonsense for a minute. I'm not even going to thank him for the email.
No, you got to thank him for the email. Listen, Paul, let me ask you a question, pal. So, first of all, they haven't three-peated yet. So, he's got it as a foregone conclusion that they're going to three-peat. Well, they haven't three-peated yet. They got a very tough game coming up next week against a real good team. So, let's look at the numbers, Chris. So, even if they three-peat, all right, I get it. So, they've won 4. Would it be 4-5 or 4-6? How many? So, they lost to Tampa.
Yeah,
We beat them in 18. How many have they? So they beat last
well,
year.
did they win in 19?
They beat San Fran
In 19,
19. They
they
lost to
lost in
Tampa.
20.
They lost to Tampa.
Did they? Yeah. Well, three-peat would be 22.
The Rams
3.
won. Then the Rams won.
Right.
Then they
then,
win two in a row.
Chiefs.
They win
Now
two.
here we are.
Chiefs. Okay, so that means, Chris, this would be their 4th in 6 years, right?
Yeah.
But it just happens to be a three-peat. Didn't we win 4 in 6?
We won in 01, 03, 04.
No, we won 3.
out of
We
4.
won 3 and 4. Okay.
Yeah. Twice.
Okay. So
Twice.
all right.
Twice. In
Okay.
2 different decades.
Well, that's the difference, and that's
For
what I was trying to
20
get to.
years.
That's what I was trying to get to. So yes, you three-peat, and yes, you'll do something that no one's done. I get that, but have you reached our level yet? No, because we got 6, and by the way, Brady's got 7. You're not there yet. You're not. If you get to 5, maybe going on 6. Send us another heated hotline, Paul, and we'll talk about it then. But you're way ahead of yourself. Way ahead of yourself.
So the better question, Paul, is what happens if they lose Sunday?
Yeah. Oh, I like that question.
What do you consider them at that point?
We'll never hear from him.
But
We
you think
won't
the GOAT, if you think he's the GOAT, I mean, just because that game is going to make him the GOAT? See, that's not what made Brady the GOAT. There's the difference right there. And by the way, just really quick before I get to this point, the Green Bay Packers three-peated. They did it. Except the first one was an NFL championship. Then they won Super Bowl. So I guess if you want to say, well, in the Super Bowl era. That was also the Super Bowl era, wasn't it?
And I think that's what he's getting at as a Super Bowl. Listen, Joe's San Francisco 49ers would have three-peated with Montana. He got knocked out of that game against the Giants and candles and clock.
Yep.
If you don't get knocked out of that game, they three-peat.
Yeah, on his own 10-yard line, he got hit hard.
He got knocked out of that game. San Fran would have three-peated, Joe.
I know.
Yeah. So here's the thing.
So make your point about Brady.
Yeah, my point about Brady is this, okay? Brady's the GOAT because of what he can do running a team, running an offense, what he does from Monday through Saturday. That's why he's the GOAT.
Well, you hear if Mahomes is doing that.
I know he's okay. Yeah. He's sitting with Andy Reid for hours on end. He's having a meeting on Saturday nights. After they have the team meeting. Then he's going in and going over every one of those 150 plays they bring to the game. Yeah, Mahomes is out with Taylor Swift dancing and singing songs somewhere.
He's not with her. That's Kelsey.
Yeah, well, they're all together. I don't know. You know.
By the way, I gotta bring this up. Have we seen the verdict yet?
What
they do?
What's he talking about?
I was just watching the other night. It came in the middle of it. There's a show called The Verdict on Vice where they do one half. The first hour is all Brady, and it's between Brady Belichick. There's still the conversation of whether it was Brady or Belichick. So they do a first hour of all Brady. Then the second hour is all Belichick. And all these guys chiming in, and people from around the New England area, fans, but then also like players and coaches.
Well, I've never seen that, Joe.
It just came on the other night. I was like, I came in the middle of it. I'm like, oh my God, am I late to this? These guys watch this. You gotta check it out, because the first episode.
I don't know how to use the internet. You want me to use that?
It's on I think Vice, the channel Vice. Anyway, so when you watch that first episode, you don't even think about Mahomes at all.
Yeah, listen,
the only thing I didn't know about Vice is Miami Vice with Rico Tubbs.
Listen.
Don Johnson.
Tom Brady could run an offense on his own. I said it last week. He doesn't need a play caller. He doesn't need an OC. Exhibit A, Byron Leftwich as your OC in Tampa. Okay.
Well, the year they won the Super Bowl, Chris, after the bye week, he took control of the offense and told him, we're doing it my way now. Enough. We're going to do it my way. And they ended up going to win the Super Bowl.
When Mahomes does that, when Mahomes can run an entire offense on his own and not need an OC and when he can prep the way Brady does, okay, yeah, come talk to me then and do it for
Hey,
20
Chris,
years. Otherwise,
hey,
shut
Chris.
up, Paul.
Paul, here's the thing, pal. Listen, even if they win Sunday, the Chiefs, here's the thing. So Brady did something that Mahomes is going to have to do. And I get he's still early in his career, but he's going to have to win a Super Bowl without Andy Reid. And you brought this up last week, Chris. Brady went somewhere else, was surrounded by a bunch of cartoon characters and buffoons. That coaching staff, Bruce Arians, when he came out of some kind of cartoon, I don't even know what it was.
He looked like Darth Vader with the mask and the
God.
shield and the thing on his chest, the
Darth
computer
Vader,
thing, whatever the hell that was.
I don't know what the hell he was, right? So anyway, until Mahomes does that, don't say he's the GOAT. I want to see him do it without Reid's scheming and play calling and all of that. And when he does it without Reid, then, and if he wins enough Super Bowls, then we'll have that discussion. But I have a funny feeling, Paul, we won't hear from you for quite a while.
Because the Patriots won in 16. He threw for 500 yards against Philly in the 17. That was not his fault. They lost. And then they won in 18. So, you know what? Yeah. But why do we, real quick, because I want to talk about those two games. Okay?
Yeah.
Why do we hate them so much?
Hate who?
Why do Patriots fans hate them so much?
Well,
Is it because
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I mean, is it the proximity to when they started winning to when we didn't have a chance to digest it before another team came along? Or is it the rhetoric of you'll never see this again? And now people think you're seeing it again.
I think it's you've never seen this again. I think that's more of what it is than just it's too soon after us. I think we'll never see this again. Well, here we go. I mean, we still haven't seen it. They still got a long way to go. But are they on the road to possibly doing it? Yeah, I guess you could say they're on the road to possibly doing it. But you know what, Chris? The other thing I think that's bothering people in New England is, Belichick was the greatest to ever do it. No one can do it like Belichick. Well, Jesus, Andy Reid's not doing too bad, is he?
Yeah,
Andy Reid that's bothering people. Andy Reid, Chris, is starting to pile up the wins. He's over 300 now. He's got the Super Bowls now. He could be winning his fourth. He could be winning 3 in a row. He says he wants to coach till he's 70. That's at least maybe 2 or 3 more years. You know what I mean? So, but here's my thing with Andy Reid. Andy Reid got fired in Philadelphia, just like Belichick got fired in Cleveland, because they said he couldn't win the big one. And then when he first went to Kansas City, Belichick would beat him. He lost playoff games, and everyone was like, he can't win the big game. Now, all of a sudden, he's one of the greatest coaches in history because he's got the player. He's got Mahomes.
Well,
and Belichick had Brady. So that is that correlation too.
Well,
Brady, Mahomes.
Then.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yes. So, I think it's a little bit of everything, Chris, that's just pissing New England fans off.
Yeah, it is. But I'll tell you this, and I want to talk about the game a little bit. What I'm seeing right now from a football standpoint, Mahomes is not doing this without Reid. Reid, with the kind of weapons, the lack of weapons that Kansas City has on this team, the schemes, the motion, the misdirection, yeah, that's what's getting it done right now.
So, Chris, this is
because Travis Kelce stinks. He stinks right now.
Okay, so the first Chiefs Super Bowl was
Taylor Swift's ass. Go ahead.
Christopher, listen to you. You sound like a grumpy old man. Listen,
I am.
The first Chiefs Super Bowl, they had that great offense, right? But this team is very reminiscent to 02, 03, or 03, 04, I mean, right, 01. This team, Kansas City's team, is very reminiscent of that. It wasn't Brady. It's not necessarily Mahomes with this team. He makes the right decisions.
So they're doing it in reverse?
You know what I mean? He doesn't screw up. He's still, but can he have that longevity? I don't think so, because Reid's not going to be here that much longer. And then we'll see. And Chris, they have to win Sunday. You brought up a great point. If they lose Sunday, now what? What's that conversation look like?
Do you want to? We're against it for Catone's comments. We want to talk about that game because we want to talk about.
No, we have to talk
Josh
about
Allen.
the games. We have to talk about.
Or do you want to do it on the Pats Nation tomorrow? It's up to you.
No, I think we should talk a little bit about it. I can condense Catone's comments.
Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about this.
I think we have to talk about it a little bit, Chris, just a little bit.
Well, we talked about Mahomes enough. But let's because I really want to talk about the Buffalo that game. Okay. And just Josh Allen. Okay. Talk about pissing down your leg. Josh Allen career postseason results. So 18 missed the playoffs, 19 lost in the wild card, then lost in the AFC Championship, lost in the division round. This year he loses in the AFC Championship. See Jim Kelly?
No, well, Jim Kelly at least got the Super Bowl.
Right,
He got 4 Super Bowl.
No,
What's his record against the Chiefs, Chris?
0-4 in the playoffs.
Okay. Then people I heard this week comparing him to Manning. Well, Manning was like 0-3 the first 3 times they played the Patriots, and then
what is wrong with
over
these
the
people?
hump. And are these people crazy?
This guy's not Peyton Manning.
No way. No way.
Okay.
Chris, let me ask you a question.
Two quarterbacks in history that never needed an offensive coordinator. Brady and Manning. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. How do we want to attack this game? I mean, listen, everybody already critiqued the refs. They critiqued the spots. They did all that. And we get that. That's
which we agree with. That's nonsense. They didn't get the calls.
The fact that they didn't get that 14 inches, we both disagree with that vehemently. Never mind the fact that the guy's in the neutral zone on that, but that's a whole other issue. Let's talk about Allen. Because no one's talked about Allen, Chris. Everyone just keeps talking about the calls, right? On the 4th and 5 on the Bills' last possession.
Second to the last drive for Buffalo.
Second to the last drive. No, that was their last drive. They didn't get the ball back after that,
I thought they got it back and
no, I thought that was it.
Yeah, you may be right. Yeah.
The second to last drive was the 4th and inches, I thought.
Oh, it was. You're right. Yeah.
Okay. Kansas City goes down and gets the field goal. Buffalo gets the ball back with
and it's 3rd and 10. They throw it to Amari Cooper on the high sideline, and he tries to skate. It comes to 4th and 5. Yeah.
4th and 5. So let's go through this quickly, Chris. On that play, Tony Romo on the broadcast for CBS says that was what an exotic look that Kansas City gave him on defense. Was it that much of an exotic look? Could you go you and I talked about this after the game? What did Kansas City do, and how did we think Allen didn't get anywhere near enough criticism for that play?
I mean,
break it down, Chris.
It didn't look exotic to me. I mean, they brought a corner blitz. So you come to the line, and my memory of the play is it was a cover 2 look. Okay, you had 2 high safeties on the hashes. Okay, it was a 4-by-1. So Buffalo had 4 receivers to the one side, the field side with the wider side of the field, and on the boundary side you had 1 receiver. Okay, and so it was 4-by-1. You had 1, 2, 3, 4. You had 6 defensive backs. It looked like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defensive backs out there. So they were in nickel. They weren't even in dime. They were in nickel. Okay, they had it was a double mug, so it was a all 0 look across the board underneath. So they had all their linebackers on the line and defensive line. So it looked like a blitz. Okay, so I don't know what Josh Allen read, but when I looked at it, I look at alignments of the corners. So when I see 2 high safeties and I see a corner on my left with an outside leverage, meaning he's lined up outside the receiver, that's a true cover 2 alignment, which means corner's going to sit in the flat, the 2 safeties are going to get over the top, get to their landing spots, and it's going to be zone underneath it. Okay, which means the read would be these linebackers on the line are going to drop into coverage in the center of the field. Okay, the other side, okay, where the blitz came from, he's lined up with an inside. He's lined up inside that slot receiver, which is really weird to me if it's a cover 2 look. He would normally be lined up outside, especially given the fact that the wide receiver was kind of towards the line of scrimmage more, towards the tackle. So he's lined up on the inside. So Josh Allen should be looking at that saying, this is man. He's in a man look. So he must be looking at it saying, okay, that's a solo man coverage. 2 safeties are going to rotate over for that 4 receiver side, right? And deal with the zone on that side. So maybe it's zone on the left and it's man on the right. Fine. If that's your read, what it turned out being was man, safety comes down and covers that wide receiver, that one single side receiver. Okay? So fine. If you read that that's man solo coverage, that's the guy I want to go to because it's single coverage. Because I got 4 receivers on this side, and I only got 4 defensive backs, including that safety. They got to rotate over. So I'm going to end up single coverage, and that's the guy I'm looking for. So that's where his read should be, focused on that guy. So when the blitz comes, that guy runs a slant, Mark. He runs a slant, which was open. You're on mute.
Which is what he did, right?
He runs a slant, which is basically a hot read.
Because it was basically a hot read. I was going to say that, right? Yeah.
He's open. Josh Allen, all he had to do was take 2 steps and boom, hit the slant. Instead, he rolls, he deepens out because the corner's getting there, and he kind of rolls to his right a little bit, and he ends up just throwing the ball away. That's wetting down your leg, man.
All right.
I didn't think it was exotic. They brought a corner blitz.
Oh, it was he made it seem like it was so exotic because it was disguised so well, Romo thought.
Nah.
I don't know.
Wasn't disguised that well. He had an inside shade. He had an inside technique. He's either going to be coming or he's going to take a man to man. What the hell? What kind of? They're not doubling him. They don't have the safety up on the top there on the same side because they're worried about that receiver going downfield and they need to double him. That's not happening. Josh Allen can't get over the top. Period.
So in the other game, Chris.
I know that was a real long explanation. Sorry.
No, but that's all right. But I think we needed to hear that, Chris, because I haven't heard one person all week dissect that play.
Yeah.
Everybody just got fixated on the calls and the refs, and nobody talked about that particular play, which really, like you said, Chris, 2 steps, hot read, throw the ball to the slant guy. You got to hope he gets the 5 yards before the safety comes up and makes.
He would have because they were all coming. There was nobody in the middle of the field.
So he screwed that up. Now the Philadelphia game, Chris.
Yeah.
Philly's playing really well defensively and offensively. Saquon Barkley is just a man among boys right now.
Yeah.
I don't think we really need to dissect that game. They blew them out. I know you were pissed off because Washington turned the ball over like 4 times. You said it could have been a different game. But it turns out they scored 55 points, right? So Philly's playing really well, Chris.
Yeah, they are. They are. And hopefully they can run the ball like that against Kansas City. And next week we're going to break down the Super Bowl, and have this detailed insight like we have, Mark.
Yes.
A lot of SEC guys there, aren't there, on that team?
Oh, half the defense is Georgia guys, Chris. 4 or 5 guys are from Georgia.
But listen, if you want to hear more about that, and you want to hear more detail about these 2 games, tune in tomorrow to the Pats Nation because we're going to break these things down a little bit more. But I'm not even thanking Paul. Screw you, Paul. And by the way, for that Giants comment, go F yourself, Paul.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You know what? Screw you,
For
Paul.
the Giants comment right there. Heated Hotline was presented by Corso Law Group, CorsoLawGroup.com. Hey, we're late, but we're going to get to it. Catone's comments is next.
No one ever thinks they will be in need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. Corso Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Call or go online to CorsoLawGroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys who I know will help.
Time for Catone's Comment!
So listen, I know that I've had rants and have talked about, driving and how people drive. But listen, I just have to resurface this for a few minutes because it's getting worse. It's getting absolutely worse. Every day I drive, I witness an accident, something crazy. Drivers are driving crazy. It's absolutely nuts. From the moment I leave my driveway, I don't want to drive anymore. I feel safer. I shouldn't say this because of what happened this week, obviously. And God rest the souls of the victims of that little, the plane crash in Washington. But I do feel safer on a plane. I know that just happened, and our prayers and thoughts go out to those people. But driving is insanity. It's absolute insanity. People forget what the little knob is on the side of their shift, the blinker, the directional. What? Do you know what a directional means? You just cut in front of people in traffic. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Then you're driving, and the guy behind you, he's ready to ram you. He thinks it's bumper cars. I don't know what it is. You know what? Just go into the back of my SUV. I'll take the passengers out of your car. Just put them in the back. I'll drive them because that's where you're going to end up anyways. You're going to end up in the back of my car. I mean, are you kidding me? Listen, slow down. You're going to catch a red light. Where are you going? Where's the rush? Where are you going? I don't know where these people are going. I just don't know where they're going. When you take the driving test, there's a manual you got to study to pass the driving test. I don't know why they give the driving test. None of these morons follow the rules of the road. So what's the point of the driver's test? Just give them a goddamn license. Who cares? They don't follow the rules of the road. It's insanity. The other day I'm driving. There's a bus, a public transportation bus. You would think that these people would be driving safely. This guy's on my ass. Like what was that movie? Speed with the runaway bus. I thought I was looking for Keanu Reeves. I thought he was on the bus. I said, "Where's Keanu Reeves? He's gotta be on the damn bus." Right? Then it's crazy. Then the guy, he shifts into the other lane and he jumps in front of me. You're a public transit driver. Have some respect. Provide safety for the people that are on your bus. Nope. Total animal. Total animal. Lastly, then I forget where I was going. And the guy's, I'm in the left lane. The guy's in the right lane. He's trying to get in front of me. It's insanity. Then somehow a guy ends up behind me. I don't know how, because he gets stuck in traffic. Now he's behind me. Now he's in my bumper. And I look in my rearview mirror, and this guy's making all these gyrations. And I thought it was Top Gun. I thought he was the wind going against his face in the plane, like in one of those stealth bombers. I said, what is this, Top Gun? I don't understand what's going on over here. It's so insane. It's so insane. Listen, I don't want to drive. I can't even say I'll take public transportation because the bus drivers are crazy. I guess I got to start walking. I got to walk.
Let him walk.
I got to walk. I gotta walk.
Joe, is the Catone driving school back?
I think so. We started.
I mean, he's been calm about driving for a long time, too.
Quite a bit.
No, the last 2 weeks have drove me crazy. If you see the way people drive over here, Joe will tell you.
Oh my God, the worst.
Mark wants to put out. Last year, what did you want to put out? Catone's driving manual.
Catone's driving manual, yes. And and listen, you as an attorney, you should help me set up my own business. If they have to go to traffic court, they have to go to driving school. Catone's driving school.
Are you gonna get one of those cars with the double wheels and pedals?
Yeah,
so you can be in control on the other side, or are you just gonna be yelling at everybody out the window?
No, I'll take control.
See, I think people should learn to drive that way. I think the beauty of your school should be you drive with the person screaming at them the whole time. And if you can survive that, you get your license. Mark, I got to ask you something. Keanu Reeves, right?
Wasn't he?
I thought Keno was the game, the thing you played at the 7-Eleven in the dump spot.
No, that's Keno. What's his name? Keanu Reeves? How do you pronounce his name? Keanu? I don't know how you pronounce his name. He was in the movie. That's all I know.
I thought that's what Keno was. Keno's the thing they go play in the dive,
Joe, pull a plug on him. Pull his plug.
Yeah, Mark. Yeah, but listen, I'm with you. I mean, but I will say this. Aren't you the guy that and I was thinking about this for a minute, because all I got to do is, if I just bring your wife on the show, then we'll hear some real stuff. But aren't you the guy that rear-ended your own car in your driveway?
No, I didn't rear-end it.
This the guy who wrecked the buffet.
Right. But didn't you hit it in your driveway?
I hit something, turning in the driveway. Yeah, but that was a mistake.
That was
A
in your
momentary-
driveway, though,
No,
right?
it was in front of the drive. It was a momentary lapse of judgment.
Because the car,
I
well,
wasn't
was
driving like an animal.
a momentary lapse.
I will comment on the fact that nobody acknowledged. I wouldn't mind if someone would chuck me the finger, even if they cut me off as if it were my fault. Just the
Yes.
acknowledgement. They don't even do that at all. Like I was never there. Crazy people.
Don't bring up my accidents and my driving record. That's not what this was about.
It was no big deal, but it ended up in the body shop. That's how no big deal it was. Yeah, listen, you're talking to somebody who
Well, the driving's better out there, isn't
road rage
it? No.
is a part of my being. Okay, so that's who I am. You know, I think I invented road rage. So you're preaching to the choir on this one. I hate everybody on the road. The other day I called you. You answered the phone. I was in mid insult to somebody. I can't say what
What
I
you were
was
saying.
saying.
Yeah.
But someday when we have more time, we'll talk about bicycle riders too around here. You know, they want to know why they get hit and they're all over the road because, you know, well,
Have
talk
to
about
start
that
recording our version of this show now.
So everybody out there, make sure you pick up Catone's driving school manual. It's good for you. It'll help you. It'll calm you when you're driving. And, you know, as soon as the driving school comes out, I think everybody should partake and participate in that. Good stuff, Mark. You're right, though. I hate everybody out there. Catone's Comments was presented by the Pats Nation, Sundays, 8 a.m. Eastern. Make sure you're tuning in to all of our Patriots talk. Going to talk draft, everything. So tune in tomorrow, make sure. But when we come back, going to go back in the week in Weekly Rewind. No flipping.
Sundays are for football. And here in New England, that means it's the Pats Nation with Corso and Catone.
You have the worst wide receiver room in the National Football League.
This is why the Patriots need us in the draft room. Let's see what the Pats Nation thinks about that, Mark.
Starting June 30th, Sundays, 8 to 9 a.m. on 790 The Score.
Back in with more Corso and Catone, the real deal. New England, I just can't stop thinking of. You know, Mark, I think everybody out there must think I'm just a mean person.
Curmudgeon. Curmudgeon is the word.
It's not. They don't. It's not. They must think. They know you are.
Is
You're
it the
mean.
road rage thing or is it the I hate everybody thing?
Well, maybe it's the
makes
high.
me-
Well, I don't know, Joe. What do you think? I hate everybody. No, so you're such a nice, cheery guy. You're telling us you hate everybody. You're gonna be like me. I try to please, get along. I push carriages for old people to the car when they're full of groceries because they're heavy. I snow blow for my neighbors who are elderly.
You know, if we didn't have so much to get to in Weekly Rewind, we could explore that. You know, debunk some of that nonsense that just came out of his mouth. But instead, we're going to go back in the week. Weekly Rewind, Joe. Going back through the week. About a weekly rewind. Okay, new coaches. We got a new coaches alert over here talking about the New England Patriots and the coaching staff. Let's just talk about the offensive staff for now.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll cover the defense next week. So this is what we have right now. We have, there's others, but Josh McDaniels, the big ones. Josh McDaniels, offensive coordinator. We have Ashton Grant, I think will be the quarterback's coach. Thomas Brown, passing game coordinator. Doug Marrone, he hasn't been named yet, but he's one of the best offensive line coaches around. Okay. Yep. Tony Dews is the running back coach, and Riley Larkin is an offensive assistant. I don't know what he's going to do. But with who they have a lot of head coaching guys on them. You know, Josh McDaniels, Doug Marrone, Thomas Brown was the interim coach for the Chicago Bears this season. And, of course, Mike Vrabel. A lot of head coaching experience, huh?
Yes. You know what I find interesting, Chris? So we kept talking about last week about McDaniels and about, what is he bringing for a system? Is he going to bring the old Patriot system here with him? Well, interestingly, so Marrone, when he was the head coach of Jacksonville, used a lot of West Coast principles in his offense. Thomas Brown, a lot of has West Coast experience in his background, in his DNA.
And I think he'll coach the tight ends too, by the way.
And he will coach tight ends. And the quarterback's coach comes from Cleveland, old school West Coast, but still West Coast in his DNA. So and then you got Josh. So how that all plays out, Chris, I think is going to be an interesting dynamic, and what the input is from the other offensive coaches. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I want to know, because how's it going to mesh? Is Mike Vrabel a strong enough presence to just not take anybody's crap? There's a couple of questions I have, but is he enough of a leader to say, we're not going to deal with any infighting here as to what we're doing?
No, I definitely think he is, Chris. Listen, make no mistake, he runs a tight ship. He showed that in Tennessee. In that sense, Chris, he's a Parcells Belichick. He's not as hard-nosed as Belichick. I think he's a little bit more like Parcells, but I think, I think he is. But Chris, I think he brought in this variety of guys too, because there's some different perspectives and points of view where this offense can. I think he figures, we can grow because we got guys who have a lot of experience doing different things from different systems. Let's put something together that works for the personnel that we have. And he said it in his opening press conference. We're going to play to their strengths.
Another way to see this, okay? The guy told you, I said before, I don't know if this was a variable choice. You said if Vrabel went to Chicago, would he have Josh McDaniels as his OC? I say no. You could also look at this and say, is Marrone here? Is Thomas Brown here? Because Josh Allen was forced. Josh McDaniels was forced on him, and we have an insurance policy in case I don't like what you're doing after a year, and you go.
Oh yeah, that could. You know what? And I didn't think of that, Chris. Possibly, yeah. But I tell you what else, Chris. Though I think if a bunch of these guys are guys he's got a history with, Chris.
That's
in
what I mean.
In one way or another. No, but there's a familiarity in
With
usually, Chris.
Yeah.
He was with McDaniels. He knows McDaniels. But Chris, that's an excellent point you're bringing up. After a year, if McDaniels don't work out, he could definitely go to Kraft and say, "Hey,
I'm promoting one of these guys.
I'm promoting Marrone or Brown. That's going to be my OC. That's the way we need to go." And at that point, I'm assuming Kraft would say, "Okay." So yeah, maybe that's his security blanket, Chris. I'm going to go with Josh. Hopefully it works. But I got my team with him. That's an excellent point. Something I haven't heard all week, Chris. I'm going to give you kudos for that. That's a very good point. Wow, I'm impressed.
Occasionally, I come up with something, But, because look, think about it. The last 7 seasons for this team.
Yeah.
From 19 on, Josh McDaniels, OC, Josh McDaniels, Matt Patricia, Bill O'Brien, Van Pelt, now Josh McDaniels again. Meanwhile, with the offensive line coaching, you had Scarnecchia, you had Popovich, Brasillo 2 years, Matt Patricia, sort of, Adrian Clem. You had, and Adrian Clem left, and you ended up with Yates for the rest of that year.
Yeah.
Scott Peters and now Doug Marrone, I think. Damn. I wonder why the offensive line sucks so bad, besides personnel. Because, Mark, I would imagine Marrone, having been a head coach, is going to have some say. And I want to talk about the Senior Bowl now, because I think he should have some say in who the hell these players are going to be. No, on the offensive line, as say Scott.
Yeah, I think he'll
what?
I think he'll consult and say, "Hey, this is the type of what we need to run this offense." You know what I mean? At the offensive line position. Yeah, I think he will, Chris. And listen, other than Scarnecchia, Marrone is the best. We're assuming he's going to do O-line. He's the best coach they've had since Scarnecchia, without question, for that position.
Yeah. He's a phenomenal offensive line coach. Not just good, a phenomenal one. So, he's going to improve the line. But it brings me, they're at the Senior Bowl. Today is and we record on Thursdays, but it's Saturday. And
interesting,
the game is,
Chris, who's at the Senior Bowl from the Patriots?
So they're all there. You got Wolf there. You have Groh, Cowden, right? Cam Williams.
and Vrabel.
And then you have Vrabel, and I think you may have a couple of coaches there too. I'm not sure.
Yep.
if any of
McDaniels
the-
isn't there, Chris.
McDaniels is not there. Now I don't know if Marone is there. I don't know if any of these other guys are there.
But Cam Williams is there. That's interesting.
So my understanding of all this, and I don't think Wolf. I'm starting to think Wolf's not a one-off here. I don't that he's just going to be gone in the summer. Basically, I think they're going to give this a shot where Vrabel's going to. No, there's a photo of them at the Senior Bowl. It kind of looks like a stage photo, but
Of
they're
course it
you
was.
got. I think it's Cowden, Wolf, and Vrabel all like together. And they said they've talked, but Matt Groh, what's her name left now, right?
They think he's going to go more into that type of a role, Chris, dealing with contracts and things of that nature. Because I guess
where
he's a
Robin
law
Glazer
background.
was.
But Glazer was, yes.
Yeah. So he may be relegated to that.
So the college scouting, yeah, he may be relegated to something else now.
Because Cam Williams has been there a long time. Now you're starting to hear the rumblings again of what took place about the overruling. Now, the N'Keal Harry pick, for example.
Yeah, we're gonna go
Supposedly,
back to that,
Wolf and those guys had A.J. Brown and Deebo Samuel. They didn't like Metcalf. But according to Burt Breer of the MMQB there,
yeah.
they had
They had Debo and AJ Brown ahead of
and then
Henry.
and then Belichick overruled him for Harry.
For Harry, I mean, yeah. Yep.
So is that why they're getting shots? Say, well, you said we can't pick receivers. Well, these guys,
Chris,
that's not really a
listen,
stretch to
you
pick
know what's-
A.J. Brown in that draft.
You know
though.
what? No, it's A. And AJ Brown was on social media before the draft. I'm going to be a Patriot. He thought he's tweeting about wanting to be a Patriot, and you take that stiff N'Keal Harry. Now listen, here's an interesting comment also by Breer, Chris. He says with that, he takes Harry, who is from Arizona State, Pac-12. Now, 2 years later, McDuffie comes out that Kansas City drafts.
Yeah.
He drops. He falls. He's there for the Patriots. Kansas City drafts after the Patriots. Kansas
Patriots
City
were
loved
picking
him.
at 21.
Yes, Kansas City loved him and figures, well, he's going to New England. We're not going to get him. And New England passes on him. And they're like, we love this guy, Bill. You got to take him. He's like, he played in the Pac-12. Who's he ever covered? You
Right.
took a goddamn receiver 2 years
Chattanooga.
earlier from that conference.
Hold
so
on.
you take a guy from Chattanooga? Who did he ever block?
A
Who did he
guard
block?
from Chattanooga
Yeah.
instead.
So Bill just lost his mind, Chris. He just lost his mind.
And so tomorrow, tune into the Pats Nation because we're going to go more in depth on this. We're going to talk about the Senior Bowl. We're going to talk about the players that we want, that we think you should be looking for.
But
Some
Chris,
of the guys,
this,
second,
listen,
third
but
round
this
guys. Yeah.
draft this year, listen, if you're drafting at the top of this draft, this isn't the year to be drafting at the top of the draft. This is an
Naturally.
extremely weak draft. Well, naturally, we picked fourth. The consensus is Travis Hunter and the guy you're really high on now, the edge rusher from Penn State.
Yeah, everybody is.
Right?
Yeah.
But other than those two guys, Chris, they're saying like there's nobody else that's a guaranteed top 5 pick that
No,
they all could be a bust.
No, but tomorrow on the Pats Nation, we're going to talk about guys in round 2 and round 3 and some of the sleepers that at the Senior Bowl that we think are pretty good at the wide receiver spot, at the edge spot, at the linebacker spot. You want to talk about PC or no?
Yes, I'll do quick.
Well, I mean,
So
you know,
PC's 5-5 in the conference. They've lost a couple of games where they could be maybe 6-4, 7-3. Bryce Hopkins is out for the year. They made that decision. They're going to redshirt him. He had with his knee again. Whether or not he goes into the portal or not, who knows? Kim English sounds like he wants him back. This team's not going to make the tournament with him being out, and it's almost like a bridge year, I think, for them. But they're 5-5. Let's see what the next 10 games, conference games, holds. I'm still rooting for them, but it's not going to be a tournament year, Chris, for them.
Well, let's see. Let's see what happens. But I don't know. Yeah, definitely not a tournament year this year. But Corso and Catone was presented by the Pats Nation Sundays, 8 a.m. Eastern. Like I said, tune in tomorrow. We're going to have Senior Bowl talk and so much more. And come back next week at noon Eastern. More Patriots talk, Catone's comments. We are Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England feel. See you next Saturday.
Now find Corso and Catone on AM 790, The Score, iHeartRadio, iTunes, wherever you podcast. Or subscribe to the YouTube channel and catch the chaos every Saturday at noon.